So I'm going to go ahead and just get the meeting started. Thank you all for coming. Welcome to the first in-person WCG meeting of the 2025-2026 season. I'm Kira Teeter, president of the Washington Conservation Guild, and I appreciate all of you coming out, especially given the government shutdown right now. WCG would like to thank the 2025 to 2026 season sponsors, including Diamond level sponsor University Products, Marble level sponsor TrueView, Porcelain level sponsors Dorfman Museum Figures and Gaylord Archival, and Silk level sponsors Caring for Textiles, Click Netherfield, and Small Corp. Their donations help WCG to provide networking events, educational programming, honoraria for speakers, benefits to Williston Award recipients, and reduced admission for members to attend historic venue tours, such as the Hurrick House tour that we hosted last month. I also want to take a moment to remember Sidney S. Williston, who was a private practice conservator in the DC area for 40 years. He passed away in 2000. The Williston Memorial Fund was created to recognize his contributions. And tonight we are honoring 3 Williston Memorial Fund awardees for the upcoming season. I invite you to stand when your name is announced. If I can go to the next slide. There we go. Colleen Vick is a conservation intern at the National Museum of American History. Grace Harling is a library associate at Arlington County Public Libraries. And Catherine Oschenbacher is a conservation and collections management intern at the National Museum of the American Latino. In addition to receiving 1 year of free WCG membership, they will also receive reimbursement for 1 year of membership to the American Institute for Conservation. Congratulations, Colleen, Grace, and Catherine. That concludes tonight's announcements, so I will pass it over to Pam Kirshner, who can introduce our guest speakers.
Bob Crozier founded Crozier Fine Arts in 1976 as a man-with-a-van trucking company. He cultivated a reputation with members of the burgeoning New York pop art scene and grew it into one of the world's largest fine art storage and logistics providers. Bob was one of the first to deliver full life cycle, integrated fine art services from packing and crating, installation, local transport, and international shipping to acclimatized warehousing in Manhattan's first standalone art storage facility. Bob ultimately developed America's largest art storage footprint by square feet. After decades as an industry leader, Bob sold the business and its property portfolio to a publicly traded company at the end of 2015. Recognizing a services delivery gap, including the need for additional fully acclimatized storage space in the Hamptons, Long Island, Crozier will be opening Flanders Fine Arts November 3rd. Bob had long recognized crate shops had been using the same techniques to soft pack and crate three-dimensional art since the 80s. The sale of Crozier allowed Bob the time and capital to find a technology-enabled solution for the transport and preservation of such objects. After years of research and development, Bob recently brought ArtFit 3D technologies to market. ArtFit marries 3D scanning with computer-engineered design and automated CNC machine manufacturing. This delivers an innovative system underpinned by custom Zote foam contour inserts for brace and cavity packing. This packaging is suitable for both archival storage and reusable for multiple transports. To date, ArtFit has managed projects for fine art services companies, museums, and natural history institutions. Blaine Edlefsen is an engineer and lead designer at ArtFit 3D Technologies, where he manages the end-to-end process for the production of custom packing systems for the shipping and storage of fine art using automated manufacturing. His work combines direct client collaboration video conferencing, computer-aided design, CAD, and manufacturing, CAM, to produce foam inserts and cavities using CNC milling machines. In addition to his role at ArtFit, Blaine serves as an adjunct professor at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT. He earned his AS in Mechanical Engineering Technology from the County College of Morris, CCM, and his BS in Mechanical Engineering Technology with a minor in Manufacturing Engineering Technology from NJIT in 2022. He completed his MS in Engineering Science at NJIT in 2024, submitting his thesis on design process and traceability in partnership with New Jersey Precision Technologies. And here are our speakers. Thank you so much.
First time I ever heard that. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me here today. So it's great. I hope this, what we have developed here is something that you can get pretty quickly and be able to use. But the main thing that I had a crate shop, obviously, and I had a lot of you building crates for everywhere, touring and everything. And what I found was we couldn't make precision, just simple cuts like this. It was all done by hand, and that's why I put this. Go to this little thingy here. I sort of did this to show you that this is how we used to do it, by obviously bringing the piece into the crate shop. We'd have to send 2 guys out on a truck, bring it back to the crate shop, and measure everything by tape measure. That seemed kind of old-fashioned to me. Could never get anything, we couldn't get it this kind of precision. Obviously, that's why I brought this down from New York. I mean, you can't do that. And I'll show you another image of things that just can't be done by hand. You have to step into the automated manufacturing. And you step into the automated manufacturing by doing scans. Different from photographs, scans give you dimensions. With dimensions, you've got real power with dimensions. And this is the scanner, and we wanted to do it for everybody. And so instead of having a $40,000 scanner, this is a $750 scanner that anybody can use, because we don't need texture and we don't need a lot of, all that kind of stuff. We just need the bare bones stuff. This will get you there. Not that hard to use. And some clients, just to let you know, right now we have put in a Pelican case the computer, the scanner, and send it off to Italy. And I don't know if you know Apise Moving and Storage, but they're one of the largest in Italy. They are now using this to do about 1,000-pound marble sculpture. And we, on the other end, will be in that Zoom meeting and basically showing Lapo how to scan the piece. So he has no absolute knowledge of ever doing anything. We sort of gave him a little scan camp lesson the other day, and he did really good. So we're going back for the first time and doing this sort of scan camp with him in live things. He'll send that back to Blaine, and then we're going to cut that piece in my shop in New York City and send it back to him. And he'll then have his crate shop puts it into a crate. So we're sort of the people that do the inner crate or the inner fittings. That's why it's ArtFit, to do that sort of stuff, and then a crater will do the rest. So just before I move on, let me just talk about the foam. This foam we researched, and it's a Zote foam. It's a cross-link polyethylene, and we don't know how long it lasts. No one does. It's been going on that's a good thing if you want everything to last forever. So it's not a bad thing. And the chips that come out of this, we recycle. We send it right back to the milling machine, and in bulk. We cut it down into little pieces and they reuse it. And right now it's, when you watch football or soccer, that's the padding underneath it is all this Zote foam that's being used. So it's a great foam, and for us, we like it because in our CNC machine that I'll introduce in a little bit, if it gets too soft, it just gums up the end mill, the drilling bit on that. So this is a 1.9 density. You're welcome to come out and feel it up after, and you'll see it's a good density. It does get a little bit harder as well if you need another harder kind of foam. So the basic thing is to get the scan. You're going to have all those dimensions. You're going to send that to us at ArtFit, and then maybe I should pass it over to Blaine to first explain back to basics the math of why you want to do a cavity or the support of the object that you might forget. I had a registrar ask me, I don't know why what's the math here? Everyone just says that this support is better, but what's the real math? And so I went back and we sort of like made this, Blaine will explain the actual math behind why the support actually works for any kind of object to protect it. So take it away, and then I'll come back to that.
Yeah, we all love math, right? So I won't go too in depth with everything you see here. But basically, the whole idea here is during storage, or even shipping, but mostly storage, the object is moving in some way, shape, or form, right? Might be in a package, on a truck, but it's moving. And the goal for a crate shop or a crating, or for us, is to make sure that object does not move, right? It remains static. So what I'm going to show you is our method versus the current method, and how even just subtly, not subtly and extremely, this helps keep the object static. So this is a free body diagram. I don't know if anybody has seen one before. Has anyone? A little bit? Okay. Basically, this shows forces interacting on an object, and then the other forces counteracting those forces. And in statics, you want everything to equal 0. So currently, in the method, it's all hand carved, right? You use a knife, you have the object in front of you, you make it work. And that works, and in some cases, that's perfectly fine. But in some cases, this is an example of just a simple egg. But for any object, if it's on a moving truck, it moves, it shakes, and maybe the outer crate and the inner crate don't quite do their job, and the object shifts. If you only have a single contact point in one area, that contact point, all the force is going in that one area, right? And it can cause the object to shift, crack, rub, break, basically the headaches you all would like to avoid. So, with our method, it is a full cavity. It's full contoured. We are contacting all of it, right? And that is distributing the force. So if a force comes in from this way, there is support everywhere. Pushing that back, canceling it out, so it stays static. As opposed to previously, let's say the force comes in here and there's nothing supporting here. We have this and this, and technically that will help, but if you have a really odd-shaped object, it could cause something to move, right? And when you're dealing with objects that you can't replace, anything is bad. Any damage is bad, right? Similarly, we also do this with brace inserts. So if we have a really big object, you don't want it touching the whole thing. I mean, this really big, takes a while. So cavities like this, same thing. Because it's contacting all of the surface area, it's providing additional support as opposed to if you just had, again, originally, just single contact points in different locations. All right, this is contact points everywhere, so it's distributed evenly. And then this is just an example of a more complicated object, right? All the hair in there. This process can capture all that detail and protect it so that it's not rubbing, shifting, breaking. And then this is one of our biggest examples that we did. It's a massive, well, not massive, big bearing, not this big, object. But where the pads are, there's a lot of surface area, so it helps prevent any shifting where it goes like this. Right? So that's the basics of the math. I hope that makes sense what we're aiming for. And now going into the process, I'll talk about this and then we'll go back. So the main, one of the obstacles we had for a long time was how do we get this into people's hands? How do we get the information you need for us to do this? Right, because every object's different. Sometimes there might be a region that we don't want to contact, right? Like that right there. But we might not know that.
And by the way, what you're looking at is a Zoom meeting with a client, and after you've done that scan, right, and you've sent it to us, then you go on to what we call a layout meeting. And the layout meeting is you're on the other end, we're on one side, and this is all live. You can see his little head down here. That's his head down there. And we're live on this thing, and the client there is with this particular object, happens to be an elephant, very large, and he's able to, you're able to actually go in and tell us how heavy it is, where you want the finger wells, or in this case, the hand wells. So you've got all that control right in your, that's the real control. That's what I meant about the scanning. From the scanner, and you deliver it, you've got that kind of control. And that's the beautiful thing. And if you wanted a head crater on there because you were going to move it and put it in a crate, they would be on as well, right? So we're all on one thing, we're all on the same page, and you get everything designed and done in one sitting, right? So, sorry, Blaine.
No, you're good. Yeah, what he said. So here you can see the green represents the phone, red indicates no contact points, yellow indicates locations of finger welds. Basically, this was the solution we found of how to get this information. Is every time we had a project, we had complicated ideas, and we were like, what if we, how do we get this information? We can have them draw it, we can have them tell us. But usually we always got it from a phone call and then a Zoom meeting. And we were like, oh, maybe we should just do a phone call and a Zoom meeting. And we use this open source software, we take the scan with the accurate dimensions, and we go through it, and we organize. And you will watch as I put it together, and we will talk about how it's going to look, where we're going to put the foam, where we're not going to put the foam. And at the end of the meeting, you'll have a pretty good idea of what your cavity, casing, support, brace package is going to look like. In this case, it's a base. That's where the finger welds are going to be. There's going to be carved out regions in the red areas, so it's not contacting. So you'll have a really good idea of what it's going to look like after a 30-minute meeting.
And that's
if it's
a simple
that
CAD that he's working in right here, that then Blaine puts into a more complicated CAD to actually do the designing. So it's an engineered design after this with the client. Those are just blocks showing us, and then Blaine will come in and do a real CAD program for that. And then he'll put that, once the client signs off on it, then it gets put into a CAM program that actually runs the 3D machine, the CNC machine.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So one of the main things we wanted to focus on was we don't want to take the agency away from the design. The object, the material better than we ever could. So we want to make sure you can provide us with the information, and we want you to know that when we're going to make this, once we are going to make this, you're going to know exactly what it's going to look like. So I will send a finalized design, engineered design using CAD to you. You will get a document, and you can see this is what it will look like. And the beautiful thing about all this is, in this case, they had the objects in front of them, and it was beneficial. But you don't need the object in front. Once we have a scan, you can leave the object in Mexico, and we're in New York. It's Beautiful. It's easy. But that is the layout meeting. That was the last thing we cracked on how to make this work. And there's me.
And let me point out in this particular, right here, well, maybe we should have a bigger thing of it. For doing really large pieces, like 9-foot tall sculptures or something like that, these are guillotines. So this is going to go into a crate. So a guillotine, if we have another picture, but
We do.
We do.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go.
We'll get there.
It's not on the list. So, but from the guillotine, we can just put on these inserts in big crates. But that's what he's doing for a very tall piece. Sorry. Brian.
Actually, no, you're up. You're up. One last thing with this, we can also do multiple at a time. So if you have multiple objects, we can sit down, do them all in one go, get them sent at one go, and you receive them in one go. You can do 2 or 3 at a time in a couple days, as opposed to 1 in a couple days. And then this is just another example. Finger welds. You can see I'm placing them as we go, aligning them so everybody's on the same page. All right. If you want to talk more, I mean, you kind of talked about the foam cavities. Again, it's made of
Let's do the
a
machine.
You want to do the machine?
Okay.
Okay.
So this is, let's just have that, turn that on. This machine, this is what stopped me a long time ago. These machines were $250,000. Who is going to have in their freight shop in the fine art $250,000 machine? This machine has cost me $7,500, and we put it together. I don't know if you can, if I'm in the way. So
No, you're good.
it comes in a kit form. This Avid comes in a kit form. And we put it in a thing. So it's nothing. This $750 for the scanner, $7,500 for this. Costs a little bit more now. I've had it for 4 or 5 years. So actually, you could have it in your institute, and we're not against that. We really just want to be the engineers for you. We want to keep up with the technology and doing the designing. This all could be done by an art handler, can learn this kind of equipment. And that's what makes this possible. This, by the way, is it's just taking out, sucking out the foam. And like I said, any kind of chunks that are left are sent back to the, as we get new foam in, we turn it around and send it back to it. So, and I think this is the elephant that we're cutting out right now. And this particular machine, this automated machine, we have, you can't see it in the back, but different drill bits, they're called end mills. And so this is automatically, once the cam is done on this, it's automatically doing it itself. So we're not doing anything. We're sitting back, making sure there's no real mistakes on it. You sort of have to be awake, but you don't have to do anything. You're now in the automated manufacturing world. And this is done. Everybody does that except us in our industry. And so that's what I'm trying to let you know about this kind of simple technology that can help us make any size package that you want. But that's an Avid, I think it's a 320 machine that we have there. And we've already expanded the bed on it, the vacuum. This foam is being held down by a vacuum underneath it, and that's just regular sort of PVC pipe that you'll see underneath this table and with a compressor that's just pulling down this foam. And you can take a sledgehammer, you can't move that off because it has to be zeroed out at all times, because this has to know exactly where it is at all times. So we just have a rolling platform with its own standalone laptop that's on it, dedicated to this machine as it's running. So after we've done the CAD program and you've signed off on how you want it, then Blaine will then take it into the CAM. He'll write it, which is the code that runs this particular machine. So.
How big is that phone?
Huh?
How big is your phone?
Well, good question. We can get it from Worldwide Foam, which is where we get it, in 2-inch, and then it's laminated. And you can see on the side that this has been laminated. It only comes 6 inches as the most. If we need to go higher to protect, and we have done, we could probably show you
Yeah.
a gigantic piece where then we would add on lock blocks
Right
to
there,
this
right there.
to go, there you go.
So we can layer the foam. Yeah,
We
which
can build it up that way. Yeah.
here we have. I'm jumping ahead a little, but this piece right here.
This is a huge, you can't quite get the scale, but this is in our shop. You can't quite get the scale, but this is a big piece. And you can see already, these are the increments that it's in, maybe right there. Probably.
Yeah, it was about 6 by 3 by 1.33.
Laminating or gluing it together.
We are not. We don't do that. This is special to the manufacturer of the foam, right?
Yeah, and then we use the lock blocks and hot glue to stack and layer.
Right. We researched the hot glue, by the way.
Yes, it's
And Crozier Fine Arts was not using the right hot glue. All those years, 40 years in the business, I was using the wrong, until
Who would
a
it-
conservator finally asked us in this project, well, we said, well, we got to put hot glue in there. What hot glue? So we said, well, so the hot glue, that's no good. They went through the test, and now we know the 3M product, and all is good in the world, we're using the right.
all this right in the world.
I don't know why, but so.
Yeah, who would have known, right?
But anyway, this is the kind of
Yeah.
results that we get with these pieces.
They're
So,
really cool looking.
yeah. Yes.
Just looking at the foam choices, are there other foams, or has this one been Audi tested?
Yes, it has been Audi tested. I heard that word the other day. And it has been, but oddly enough, the conservator asked me not to say what she did, the Audi test, but it has been Audi test. It's because we're doing sort of a joint project together, I guess, and it'll all come out.
It'll come out. You'll
all
see
come
the
out.
information.
But yes, it has been Audi test. This is a Zote foam. It's from England, but it's made in Indianapolis, Elkhart, Indiana. Sorry, in Indiana. That's where we get worldwide foam, and it's medical grade. And it's white, though they have other colors. They'll have a sort of a dark grayish to it. Obviously, I think we in the industry prefer the white. We want to see any kind of things to it. And like I said, it lasts. Nobody knows how long it lasts. So it's going to be a long time for storage. So it's a good foam. Well, anybody else have a question about foams?
How does it compare to Ethifoam?
Huh?
How does it compare to Ethifoam?
Just so much nicer, you know?
Yeah, you want to touch it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, yes. Basically, so Ethifoam, yeah, it's not as dense, and then the velour is glued on to give like a nicer surface. This sort of cuts out that process, and it's a nicer surface. There are different densities, and there are also just different foams we have also used. Unfortunately, because of the way we mill it, most foams we can get a pretty smooth surface in there, just because of the way it's cut. But yeah, does that help?
There is
Does that answer the
another
question?
American company that has it. It's called Ancom.
Ancom.
Whatnot.
They have
But
a-
It's still a good foam that you can use, but it's beaded. I don't know if you like. It's just a beaded, a little bit rougher surfaces to it. It's just not as smooth as this. This, after it comes out of the milling process, we lightly just hand sand it, just bury it with a really light sandpaper and just clean it up a bit. But it's a fabulous foam. And this is, like I said, the 1.9, and the Zote foams do come in a 2.5. It's really pretty hard. You got to have a big sculpture, something like that, some really weighty objects. We've done that before. We've had this is good enough for a 500-pound piece that we've done. Nothing has happened to it. But anything major like that, you might want to go to a 2.5 or mix up the foams, the densities of the foams, not the foams, but the density of the foam that come out. So we talked about the machine, we talked about the scanning. Oh, yes.
I have one more question. Have you worked with any projects where you have maybe a more delicate surface or coatings that could get gummy during transport or something? I'm just thinking about this topographic like texture that you said hand sander, that
Well,
you tell it's less.
Yeah, there has been, we've had clients that use, it's a 3M product, and it's called, we call it Auto Mask. And it's just the thinnest level of a plastic, like and it rubs on itself, and so it doesn't harm anything. But
Okay,
you
yeah,
can't, you can't go much less dense than that.
Sure.
So, and that's sort of a cushion curve thing that we're working on as well. And
I guess how tight does it?
Oh, you want the offset? Yeah,
oh, the
yeah.
offset.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. We have complete control over that.
Yeah,
So
you do as well.
You
by the
do.
way. Oh,
So
sorry.
we do a 50 thou offset, 0.05. So the whole thing is that much bigger than the object. And for most cases, we've found like that's what this is,
Yeah.
and it's snug, but it sits comfortably, right? We've done bigger, where it's looser, and we've done tighter, where it's really, which I don't.
Line to line, if you want it line to line to really hold it in place.
Well, close to line to line. You can't have it line to line because then it won't fit, but you can get real close.
I'm just thinking of things, I know that there's been discussion in the field of like using tieback as interfacing between, rougher foams.
Mhm.
And so, but then you get that tie, there's like a texture, sometimes it's like behind
Yeah.
on the surface. So I was just wondering about the specific CNC texture, and if you've seen anything in projects that you've done so far.
Haven't.
Well, that's what Automask is.
But
I think that's what the
why I think
Automask.
Automask comes in. We've seen that
Okay.
before. I personally, I mean, I'm not going to say what I like.
Yeah,
If
but
you
if
like
there's also,
Automask,
like,
it
a-
comes.
Yeah, we can. There's also
Tiny air gap in it.
yeah. There's also like sometimes like with her dress, it's really detailed, right? And I maybe part of your fear is like it might get snagged, right? Or it'll.
To some point, yeah. I'm just thinking. Like,
Yeah,
the
we
texture.
can-
Like if it stays because it's so nice,
Yeah.
we're gonna leave it in there. And so then if it goes through a few like, oh, the building lost AC, and that things
Well, you can
happen.
ask for the
So-
you can tell us
Yeah.
what kind of offset that you
Yeah.
want, and then just lay your own piece
Gotcha.
piece in.
Okay,
Sure,
cool.
well, that's easy to do.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
keep passing it. Where are we now? I forget. What?
Another example of a finished cavity. A little bigger. This one we have a piece that is assembled. We've done a couple projects where like it was the whole thing like opened up. It's quite cool, if I say so myself. But we can get really complicated with the structure if need be, which is quite cool. It's very, the sky's the limit in a way.
This isn't a particularly complicated.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
it
is-
is this way, the way that it was designed, but you can see the real difference. We can get any kind of detail that you want. Incredible, the machining. And that's why we went to an actual CNC machine, was because the machine, the XYZ of the machine, we are absolutely controlling every single little thing on that, that the XYZ on your piece. So. Well, okay, so
Yeah, we
this
missed that
is
part.
just a coroplast box, and there's a turn. I left the little thing that we invented.
It's an early prototype of the
Yeah,
locking
that's-
mechanism.
That's why you see that was made in our shop. Just to prototype those sort of blocks, so it was nice and clean and easy to open up and whatnot. But if you had a piece that you wanted to give to an art handler on a truck or something like that, our latest one has where you can put in a security tag on both sides of that, lock it up, and then just get it onto an RPD truck. I wouldn't move it by obviously FedEx or anything like that, but and it's a 5 mil, 5 or 10 mil that we've been able to do it, and the same.
I think it's
punched
6.
out that piece.
It's 6 mil. It's
6
not
mil.
it's not 10 mil.
That we can cut out on the machine. So that's all designed that it can just cuts it out, and then our art handler just folds it all together. Let's show the crate. We did.
Yeah, you want the
Yeah. Smaller, lightweight
We didn't
things.
bring it, but I sort of deemed, I don't know, that this was the biggest size for a cavity versus what I'm about to show you for let's go to the crate,
We'll go back to that one.
oh yeah, we'll start right here. I've deemed this the biggest size and it weighs 40 pounds. This piece weighs 40 pounds, right? And I sort of deemed it, this is the biggest that we're gonna go, but of course we've already gone over that. So, and we built a case for it. But usually if it's a large piece, this is going to go into a crate. And so when Blaine went online with the client and doing this, the client wanted the bracing and you could do it from the top of the guillotine. So you have the crate. Can you show me the crates and we'll do the overall thing?
This one?
Yeah. Well, just show the video. And you can see the guillotines and they've all been cut out. And knowing these exact dimensions to get that looks easy, but it's not. And it's not by a tape measure. This was all done once again on the CAD program. And we can cut out this MDO board once again on that same machine, the CNC machine. That's the beauty of this. It's all coming together. See that? I don't know, right in the way. So it snaps right into place, right? Those dimensions, that's really pretty tight. I mean, that's sort of, well, this is showing you how it fits, but, and all this contour business. In my old shop, what we used to do to get that contour is actually take the same wood and screw it in different angles. An art handler was to get that angle, where now we can design it and the CNC machine just cuts out that pattern. Contours exactly the way we want it. And then the client will tell us if they want an insert on the top of the guillotine or not. And the way that works is we're going to send you can be anywhere in the world. We're just going to send you all of the little pieces. And there's usually 12 of these inserts for even a large piece. I don't know why that is. 12 to 15 is the most that we've ever put in, even to a large piece. And that fits in a pretty tight bin. So we send that to the crate shops, because we're doing works for other commercial fine art crate shops, where we don't build the actual wood boxes. So we're in collaboration with them. They're going to keep the artwork at the museum. We'll give them the design of the particular crate, and we'll give them the pattern of the guillotine, and they're going to cut it out by their own saber saw, right? Different from what we're doing it, because if we're there, we're not going to ship out a big piece of wood, these guillotines. So they'll go to the museum, they'll have cut this out themselves, the guillotine, they'll cut out the crate, they bring art handlers there, and this is glued on site. So you get that nice tight feeling. You can't do it any other way than that. So the art handlers are just trained, and this is all just hot glue again. Now with the right kind of hot glue, they will glue that in place and get it nice and tight, right? And it comes with numbers and diagrams, so the art handlers know right then and there how to assemble that piece, right? So, and this is the inner crate. And if we had the outer crate with it, I'll show you. And this was with the crew chief working with us online to get exactly what, in this case, he wanted. Oh, and right down here, let me show you these. These are traditional crate shop cushion curves. That's as far as they've gotten with this whole thing, is to figure out that this is on a tray and writing on these foam things. I'm trying to get a little bit more, now that we've got that data from the scanning and doing all that stuff, running out of simulation programs. So I partnered with the Wisconsin Museum to do some open source
College.
business, so we can start.
It's Wisconsin College.
Yeah,
Not a
college,
museum.
not the state. And can we do the other one where this is the inner crate, and then where is he? Oh, here's the outer crate here, right? So this is the same piece. This is the inner crate, and
the actual creators designed this themselves and tried to figure out what the pushing curve is. But all it really is to taking up the weight and doing a little math. This does help for sure to have an inner crate and an outer crate, especially traveling to Europe. Right? If you want that. And then we're doing the inner
Fittings.
or we're designing all this inside. So now you can see a better view. You really got to have some good CAD work to get the distance from here to put in these run-ups, right? So that's, once again, the advantage of starting out with a scan, is all that can be done for you. And by the way, when we sat down, head creators are, they're running a whole shop, they're buying materials, they're keeping everything together, going out, trying to get the next job, doing sales and everything. In one shot, we sat down with them and designed it, and it was just off their plate. They didn't have to think about it one other time, about going out to the client, getting tape measures and all this sort of stuff, and coming back and doing everything else, and then sitting down and designing it, and then making that into a work plan for their crew to go out and cut everything. We can just sit down there one time and give them the dimensions from our CAD program of what they just wanted. I don't know if I explained that correct, but that was in one sitting. Yes, it took about an hour and a half, but it's done. How does this work for flat work or painting and stuff? So we went out and we found the tape measure that has a digital readout from it. So now we can start doing, instead of trusting, because I know my head graders did not trust anybody but themselves to go out and get dimensions. They just wouldn't do it. They would always come back and we'd build a whole big crate and it was all screwed up. So they would go out themselves. Now we got a digital tape measure. They go out and they could do the flat works and design 1, 2, 3. It's not done a lot, by the way, with us. Nobody is quite trusting. This is a new product. They're not quite trusting what I'm trying to show them in the future. I think this is the way to go. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to show you that. I forgot what. Go ahead.
I think we've pretty much got most of the information. In most cases, again, I had mentioned because there's very little contact with the piece, and then we machine it, we manufacture it, and then we can ship it. If you're near us, you can even come pick it up. We've had that happen before. So location isn't really an issue. There were just a couple more. This one. The one other thing with this one, when we did this poll, the creator at the time told us after we gave them this that there's no way they could have done it without what we did, without our process, because they had tried. This is a really cool one. I really like this one. Because of the way it's designed, the pole will continue to sit on it when you remove the supports. And then the supports could only be removed this way and not this way. So when they built the crate, it wouldn't just fall out from the front. So this one took some brain power, but.
And that's a huge bowl.
It's like this big. Yeah, it was big. It was.
And to get those kind of dimensions to sit in there, and it was made out of wax. It was extremely fragile, and that lip was.
Yeah, that lip.
Just incredibly fragile, and it just sat right in it. And
that whole ridge was a no contact, like carve out. And then just some other examples. This one is a good example of finger welds to lift out the object. Lock blocks. Well, these ones aren't really lock blocks, but they align and secure the piece in place. And then because the foam is sort of squishy, it can sit in, and then that pressure will keep it closed. And then we would either have a coroplast case or some sort of wooden case, something to secure on the outside.
But just a shout out, that guy is David Rockefeller. My brother is a sculptor. That's how I got into the business. And David Rockefeller actually sat for my brother to sculpt this on his 80th birthday. So the medical group paid my brother to make that particular piece. So I did that. David liked it, by the way.
This one. Yeah, you know, now that we've talked about that ferry, you can see it in the top left corner there compared to this cavity, just to maybe help give a size reference on how big this cavity was.
And that was a plaster piece, a plaster sculpture that went in there, so it was extremely fragile. And it did great in transportation. And they had to get it, the piece was so large that they had to lay it down to get it through the doors. That was one of the reasons why they wanted that, more of a full cavity as opposed to in the back, the ferry just being different inserts. They had to get the full effect there.
Yeah. Again, we thought this was the biggest at the time. Yeah, I believe that's it.
People, customers and clients keep these padded things and keep them.
We call them
because-
inserts. What do they do?
They keep them because the piece might travel again, or what do you do after
Yeah,
it's been shipped?
the intention for
Recycled,
these,
or-
obviously shipping, but then it's intended for storage. I will say, if worst case was needed and they no longer needed it, you could cut it up and reuse it as just padding. One thing we didn't mention, some of the bigger scraps we have, like just big pieces that are too small for our use, we give them to a crate shop, and they've been just taking them from us, kind of running out. So if that was needed, then yeah, you could reuse the whole thing and recycle it into other projects. But our goal is that it stays with the piece. That is our thinking, is that it stays with the piece forever. So it can be stored, shipped again, you know, one of a kind object, one of a kind storage. Or
You know what I've noticed through the years? When I started out, no one saved their crates. It was all just in plastic and in racks. Now everybody, if a museum is borrowing their piece, the museum pays for that crate, they'll never take it out. It goes in storage that way. And that's why these guys nowadays, they'll take pictures of inside of their storage rooms. We would never do that. Why? Because everything is crated. So just to make that crate and put it in there, I bet you the object is going to stay in that crate until it's in the exhibit. Different from, you know, accessing it all the time and wanting to do that. So
It's the best storage as well as
yeah, but you could, thinking about it, you could just take that insert out of the guillotine and once again, I just put it in a baggie, is basically what I do, and put it into that storage bin. And it's all numbered, usually on the back side, so you don't see it. We've had clients that just don't like to see the numbers on it. We have a sort of a computerized printer that will print out anything we want and just put it on the insert. But you could shave it and restore it, and you have the design, and we have the CAD programs and all that sort of stuff, so we could bring it back to life and get rid of the crate, I guess. So you don't want to store for all that cost. You could do that, sure. Right? Yes.
Hi. Whenever you do scans for clients, do you keep those scans and they can come back to you and ask for another one if they need it?
yeah.
Well, good question. In that, we had to go through the process. In terms of can we make another copy of it? That scanner, that kind of information won't get you anywhere. It's not enough information to reproduce it. Are we storing it for the clients? We don't want to particularly be in that business. So we like it when we get it back, and after so much time, we'll just get rid of the storage. But it's not my intention to resell it or bring it up or hire somebody to do all that storage of that information. To us, it's done, and it is one of a kind piece. It's not like you're going to do anything with it anyway, right? So, does that answer your question, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't particularly want to store it. Is the short answer.
I was also wondering, as you said, you don't quite know how long this kind of foam lasts yet. Have you been in contact with any clients and asked them how their objects have been faring since they've been stored long-term?
We're a startup. We really.
We're not that old.
We don't know anything. We just invented this. It's taken me a few years to do it, but I have no idea, right? My lawyer, by the way, says you can't say it lasts for this long. He wants me to say when you sign this, it lasts. He wants me to give a number. He said, well, just tell him it lasts 3 years. I said, I can't say 3 years. That's nothing. That's 7 years. And so we're bickering back and forth, and I think I agreed to say 7 years. So who knows how long it lasts.
We'll let you know in 7 years.
But it does. But actually, Zote foam, when they say it, as long as it's in climate control and humidity and temperature control, we guess what? All the objects are. They say it should work indefinitely. Just don't leave it out in the sunlight and don't do this and don't do that. It's oddly enough, that's exactly our business. And they're making this for the medical industry, by the way. That's what this is for. And we will get into a baby's bones is the different size of our bones. And so when they make a one-of-a-kind baby bone in the medical world, they want us to do that one-of-a-kind sized object. And they weren't thinking of this when they made this. This was mainly for medical instruments and putting it in things, but that is another line of our that will come through with our business, by the way. The Natural History Museum's fantastic for fossils and whatnot, and of course you all know that one just sold for $56 million. Work indefinitely. Just don't leave it out in the sunlight and don't do this and don't do that. It's oddly enough, that's exactly our business. And they're making this for the medical industry, by the way. That's what this is for. And we will get into a baby's bones is the different size of our bones. And so when they make a one-of-a-kind baby bone in the medical world, they want us to do that one-of-a-kind sized object. And they weren't thinking of this when they made this. This was mainly for medical instruments and putting it in things, but that is another line of our that will come through with our business, by the way. The Natural History Museum's fantastic for fossils and whatnot, and of course you all know that one just sold for $56 million. We're down the line. Those collectors, I think, are just primed for our business as well. And you saw the elephant for the Natural History Museum as well. So it's primed to keep those kind of things forever. As those prices go up, everyone's going to want to go in and, I hope, get a cavity insert for that size object, right? I don't know what else to, we're up about that time, so.
Who else is doing this?
Good question. Nobody.
Colleagues in Europe
We're the only.
or Asia?
No, we're the only one. And honestly, when I did this years ago, I started this kind of project at Crozier Fine Arts. I had no time. A crate shop that wasn't into the tech stuff. I couldn't find somebody until I found real engineers coming out of school that had the head and had the knowledge to put all this together. But when I did it the first time was with Jeff Koons, the artist, and he's a great guy, by the way. He is a real innovator in our industry that I don't think is recognized. Because he's so international, he's getting big-time corporations doing real interesting things with his materials and the fabrication of his objects. And he's the one who asked me, Bob, make this, give me a cavity of this particular piece. And I said, okay. And I went out there and I totally failed. There wasn't, once again, it was $250,000 machines. I went to an outfit that mostly does reproducing of objects. Like if you're going to make a little widget, you go to these places and they make 1 million widgets for it. So nobody has gotten into the one-of-a-kind organic sort of objects. And I'm the only one there isn't nobody, believe me. I've been to Isofat, I've been to Packin, I know some people.
We've tried.
And they're not doing it. I think we're the first to do that, which is exciting for us, yes.
So when you're in this situation of the startup business situation, how are you estimating for clients, like their end cost? Is it time and materials? Dimensional, like, where
We are in the middle of that as we speak.
Okay, that's what I'm
And-
wondering about, because
And I've been giving it away. And
He
I
ha-
probably,
he has.
anybody that identifies themselves right here want to try a piece, I'd probably do it for you, just to show you how it works so you could get on the other end of Blaine and be on that. That's exciting things to be on the other side as you're designing. I mean, I have people just, oh my God, just go crazy because they're seeing this CAD work and they're seeing how to actually design that. It's really exciting stuff. So I'm giving it away, kind of. But finally, I kind of think that, I'll give you one cost. This foam for a 48 by 80 inch by 6 inch is $310, right? That's the cost, and that's paying $3,000 of a huge load to get it to my shop. That's including the 3,000. So you break it down. This is not easy stuff. But it's last forever type of phone. We're trying to get into the $200-300 an hour for our engineers, and the layout is usually an hour long. And if you design it, sit there with us and then design it, and you want to make a change, you get one change for free, for instance. So
Just say like a big change. Like
Yeah.
small changes are fine.
And mistakes are made, just like architects. You're sitting down with an architect and you can get one change at our cost, but two means you don't know what you're doing and you should be paying another $300 for any other hourly change that you make with it. So that's kind of a price. The machining that you saw for the CNC machine, that takes some time. Those are 2 hours, 3 hours.
I'll give you the exact time. That time lapse video in 13 seconds, it was about 3.5 hours of actual machining.
Yeah.
But you add that by, I can do 3, 4, 5 at a time.
On one table.
It's like 10 hours of machining, but you get 5 at the end, right? Just so you have an idea of time.
Right.
But then, I mean, if something's insured for umpteen $1 million, then what's,
Yeah, that's been our thought. Like,
Exactly.
you're paying, it's the best, right?
And don't you know, Chubb came to me, I won't tell you who in Chubb, but they came to my shop, saw the whole thing, and when she heard that we were engineers, her ears perked up and said that I should be insuring ArtFit for yet another amount. And I said, what? How could that be? I've been creating my entire career. What is this different? The word engineer set them off, and they want a new charge that I have to pass on to everybody, right? It's just nuts. So what did I do? I'm back in the storage business at Flanders Fine Arts out in the Hamptons, right? And I'm going to try and get underneath a new company of storage and create it. So Blaine will actually be part of Flanders Fine Arts, Flanders FAS, and try and get them under to save that kind of money. Because I just don't think I have any more liability. If this piece doesn't fit in this, it doesn't fit. Just let's build a new one.
We'll make
But it's not
another
gonna
one. It's
hurt
on
the
the
price.
house.
So
Yeah.
I don't think I have any more liability than 60 cents a pound, is what I honestly feel, to not pass that cost on. So I hope that answers the question of costs. And I'm, and if, with one museum we did 60 pieces, and we have another contract for 52 pieces, that's a different kind of thing, right?
Yeah, if we're doing bulk of like very similar objects, it's easier. It's still custom each one, but you can sort of reuse the same process a little, so it makes it easier to do a bunch. So it does bring those costs down.
Right.
After the first one, because I got to figure it out first.
And you can have all the scraps for free.
And you can have the
As long as
scraps.
you haul them out. Because it costs me money, actually, to take those scraps and get them back to the milling house, right? And they want it, they won't take, and of course I'm not going to take a bag of big scraps, big scraps. So I have to have a guy there cutting it on my saw for 1-inch squares, so we can pack more in a bag to get them back. Until then, the museums thought, well, wait a minute, we want those big scraps. So now we're passing them out in New York City to different places, and it's all working great. They have to come and get it, and I'll give you all you want. So we've taken too much time, I guess, sorry.
No worries. Just wanted to say thank you again to our speakers.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for coming out.